What's up guys, welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. Today we are going to be doing another episode of Rate My Tank, so make sure you stay tuned to find out more. Hey Fanatics family, welcome back. As always, check out those links in the description. Make sure you check out Star Fisheries. They have an absolutely huge range of fancy goldfish in it at the moment and some really special ones too. Today we're going to be doing another episode of Rate My Tank. If you haven't watched this series before, then essentially we have lots of different fancy goldfish setups on the video and we rank them from 0 to 5 stars. There is no hatred towards any of these tanks. All of the fish are happy and healthy in the tanks we have on the videos today, and the owners have their different ways and different styles of keeping them, but it's really interesting to see how the tanks differ to each other, the way the fish are kept, the way the tank is kept, and overall how the system functions. So without further ado, I'm going to get some amazing setups on the screen now and let's check them out. So first up, I just want to say thank you to the subscribers in this episode today that submitted their tanks for this series. As you can see with the backdrop, I do have the new Aranda Fancy Goldfish Aquarium up behind me, but unfortunately we don't have any fish just yet, but we will be getting some soon. However, enough with that tank, let's check out the tank on the screen today. First up, I can see this tank has some absolutely stunning fancy goldfish and a really nice range of fish as well. Although generally with tank tours we don't focus on the fish themselves, these fish really stand out to me. We've got some stunning panda Aranda, tricolour Aranda, really nice quality fish and overall really healthy fish as well. The colours are really defined on these fish. They look really happy and healthy, nice and active as well, and it's really nice to see a range of different shapes and body types in the tank. Now I noticed in this tank as well, we do have an air stone or an aerator. We also have some live plants. I'm really liking the white sand. It's really helping to illuminate the underside of those fish and really make the colours nice and bright in the tank. Although this tank doesn't look too huge, and I'd probably say it's potentially slightly overstocked, with the correct filtration and the correct maintenance and feeding regime, the owner of this aquarium should have no problem at all in maintaining these fish to keep them as happy and healthy as they are today. We've obviously got lots of oxygen being pumped in through those aerators, which is also helping to degas any CO2 in the system. I can see that we've got a range of plants which will help to bring out any nitrates and phosphates from the water. Looks like we might have some Amazon sword potentially. Hopefully the video focuses back on the plants so I can see what other plants we've got, but I am not too good on aquatic plants, although it looks like we have a nice range. I'm also liking the use of those stones throughout the sand as well. Here we can see we've got an FX6 filter, an absolutely huge filter, so that is going to cope absolutely no problem at all with those fish. Absolutely no problem, especially if the owner of this tank has pimped that and maybe added a few more extra pieces of biomedia. Looks like we've got an internal filter as well. Those sponges are really good at taking out any dirt and detritus build up within the system. Also, I'm really liking the fact that this is a plumb system, so this is actually a drilled tank, and you can see it's got the dual aspect, more of a peninsula style system where you can see it from front to back. I'm really liking the light and open airy space. Looks like we've got some Java fern, maybe some crypts as well, and I'm really liking the small little aquascape and the fine details the owner has put on this tank. You can really tell there is quite a lot of care and attention on this system. Really liking the two aerators at either side with that little area for plants, and it looks like those goldfish aren't eating them, which is absolutely great to see. Great water clarity, great fish quality, and overall a really nice system. Probably wouldn't change too much about this system. Obviously it would be great if the tank was even bigger and we can have some more fish, but overall I really like this setup. There's clear attention to detail gone into it, and I'm actually going to give this one a 4.8 out of 5 stars. Great setup, and thank you very much for the submission. So in the next tank, you can see we have a very similar style substrate and rock scape or the way the rocks have been placed throughout the tank, although we have some tan coloured rocks in this tank. Really liking the use of the bubble wall as well at the back of this system, and you can see we've got a range of different fancy goldfish in the tank. They look like they've got plenty of space to roam around in, and it's also really nice to see another tank with substrate. Although many fancy goldfish keepers do have bare bottom aquariums, I really like the use of substrate if you can maintain it and keep it clean, and clearly this owner has done that. Looks like we've got a few filters on the back, some fluval canister filters, which will generally provide enough flow and circulation and removal of the nitrogenous compounds from the water. I'm also liking the range of fancy goldfish that this owner has put into the system, and it's nice to see some different varieties being kept together. They look really happy and healthy, really nice and active, and overall I really like the way the system is set up. Potentially if you wanted to add a bit more coloration, you could probably put some plants with a bit of bogwood on, although I do know these do collect detritus, and you can clearly see that this tank is tailored toward keeping the fancy goldfish and is not just a general goldfish community tank. Overall though, really like the use of the air stones as well to create those bubble walls at the back. You obviously can see that I am a big fan of bubble walls and air stones. And overall, I would say this tank is very close to that first tank we saw, but I did like the use of those plants to create a slightly different aquascape and give something a little bit more to look at. But overall, both tanks, absolutely healthy fish in both, and there is nothing wrong with either of these tanks. Really liking the attention to detail and the way these fish are being kept. Overall, I'm going to give this one a 4.6 out of 5 stars. Great system. Next up, you can see we have a slightly different tank. We have some black substrate and a black background. I think personally, in my opinion, using black substrates, backgrounds, filters, air lines, etc. helps to give a bit more focus on the fish. Now these fish may be just as colourful as the fish we've seen in the previous 2 aquariums, but that use of the black gravel and the black background really helps to make the colours pop on these fish, and they do look just a little bit more vibrant. But I would say that is not down to nurture, that is just down to nature and the way that this system has been set up. One thing I would say is potentially that ornament in the middle potentially could cause some issues if the goldfish do start to breed, because it may be a little bit sharp, but if the owner has gone out of their way to check for any rough edges, then there is no reason why you couldn't have this in your tank. Really like the look of the allodia, which also helps to add some oxygen, and the bubble wall as well on this system. Really nice, probably a little bit too cluttered for my personal taste, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with this system and the way that this tank has been set up. Looks like we've also got a canister filter on the back of the aquarium, which is handling all of the waste being produced by these fish, and overall it has a nice look to it. It'll be nice to see the filtration system, hopefully if we could see that on the tank, to see what kind of canister filter we've got and if there may be any hang-on back filters. I really like the use of canister filters as they do fit quite a lot of media in them. However, I prefer a sump system if you can have one, as sumps are really easy to maintain and it means you can get that nutrients out of the system a little bit quicker. Also, as we can see, another bubble wall on the back of this tank, which helps to add oxygen and degas CO2, and also I think it provides a really nice aesthetic to the tank, similar to the 2 bubble walls I have on this system. Overall, really liking the fish, really liking the natural plants. Obviously, goldfish can destroy natural plants, and hopefully if you do go for some of the hardier species, this will be less likely of a case, but obviously adding any live plants to a fancy goldfish tank can always be a risk. But it is nice to see a little bit of a natural style system mixed in with that fake ornament they've got in the middle. Personally, I would also change that gravel to a sand. There is nothing wrong with a gravel bottom or a gravel substrate, and many keepers utilize this as a substrate, and they don't have any problems for many years. But there is also that slight off chance that a fish may consume some of that gravel and it gets caught or stuck in the gut of the fish. As you'll see, most of these fancies are quite short bodies. There are some absolutely stunning orandas in this tank, really nice quality. So if they do ingest any gravel, it might be very hard for them to pass it. However, I do find cleaning a gravel substrate is a lot easier than cleaning a sand substrate, as it's really easy to get that dirt out of it with a nice gravel vac, and you don't sort of deposit any of your sand out of the tank. However, overall, I really like this tank, but there was a few things I might change slightly, but the fish look absolutely great, happy and healthy, and if the owner is doing the correct maintenance regime on this tank, then I would say leave it exactly how it is. Overall, I'm going to give this tank a 4.4 out of 5 stars. Really love the happy and healthy mixed range of fish, the black substrate, the black background, and the real focus on the fish. But as I said, there's probably a few things I changed, mainly that ornament in the middle, and maybe adding even a few more live plants to the system. Now, next up, you can see we have a slightly different tank. I really wanted to have this one on the video today because you can see we have that sort of fake grass AstroTurf style background, which I've actually never seen anyone do before. You can see the owner has also added it around the pelmet or the top bracing of the tank. And although it's not to my taste, I really kind of like the system. It's really interesting to see how they've done it. Really liking the white substrate. That's really helping those goldfish colours to look a little bit brighter. And using that white substrate really helps to brighten up the tank. Obviously, on the adverse side, you have the darker substrate, which helps to make the fish's colours look better. But on the other side, you do have the white substrate, which helps to make the tank look brighter overall. Really liking the minimalistic scape with that small Buddha statue and the small use of those larger pebbles or stones. But it's quite interesting to see this AstroTurf style background. Obviously, many keepers and hobbyists do aspire to having that green background, that green algae carpet background, and green algae carpet substrate as well, and that green look to the tank. But you can see they've done it instantly with this AstroTurf style background. Now, I believe this is actually on the exterior of the tank rather than the interior, so obviously it's not going to get dirty, the fish are not going to pull on it, and if there are any chemicals being released from it, it's not going to add anything to the water, so it's nice and easy to maintain. Overall, personally, I would maybe change the substrate a little bit, maybe to match it in with that background. Maybe if they could get a green substrate. I'm not sure, haven't seen that one done before, but it might look quite interesting. They could even turn it into one of those football style pitch fancy goldfish aquariums. If you haven't seen those, there's some many rancho aquariums that have a football style pitch look to them, and the fish actually play with a football, which is really funny and cute to watch. Overall, really liking the simplicity of this aquarium. Not sure what kind of filter system they have. I assume it's either a hang-on back filter or maybe a canister filter in the sump area. Liking also that the use of an aerator or air stone within the system. Overall, I'm probably going to give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Really liking the use of the AstroTurf and the different style of aquarium, but overall not quite as amazing as the other tanks we saw today. So that is it for today's video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it, seeing those range of different fancy goldfish tanks, some absolutely stunning fish and aquariums on the video today. If you like this video, let me know down below, and if also you have any suggestions on future videos or any goldfish videos you've seen on the internet and want me to react to, then you can pop a little link down below and I will check it out. So that is it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching. As always, thank you all for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.